Hi, Bethany Warren here, and you've joined us for the weekly Our Millwall Fan Show with the Millwall No One Likes Us Talking team, which is broadcast every Friday evening. Enjoy!
Welcome to the second episode of the new 2022-23 series of the Millwall No One Likes Us Talking, our Millwall Fan Show podcast. I'm your host, Gary Staff, and we have with me this evening the No One Likes Us Talking team of Patricia Maslin, Ted Robinson, evening Pat, Ted Robinson,
evening Gary,
and James Kelly.
Hi Gary.
Not everybody likes them, but they don't care.
So, after a short and closed season due to the World Cup in December, I'm really looking forward to that, by the way, watching the World Cup games in the cold and in the fire on. It'll be good. And the Lions are back in action this weekend against Stoke. How do you think the close season has gone, guys? I'll start with James on that one.
Yeah, I mean, I've really enjoyed the transfer window. The players that we brought in, I think we've more than mitigated the loss of Jed Wallace. Zayn Fleming's a player that I'm really excited to see play for us because obviously he's our record transfer. The stats that he produced in the Eredivisie were pretty impressive for a 23-year-old or 24-year-old rather in a squad that were facing a relegation battle in Fortuna Sittard, and in the likes of bringing back Bennet, who was a very good goal scorer for us last year. George Honeyman and Jamie Shackleton as well are very solid midfielders, very good in championship level. And obviously Charlie Cresswell as well, who's also on loan from Leeds with Shackleton. So I'm really excited to see how we get on this season. And with the closed season results, the pre-season results they weren't incredible, but I don't really look into pre-season too much. It's all about, fitness and getting back into it, I suppose.
Agreed. I think too many people get overexcited about
the results were yeah, absolutely.
I heard the other day, and someone made me laugh that Huddersfield had won all 7 of their games, and I think it was Ben Bloom turned around and said, "Watch them lose their first 7 games of the season."
Yeah, so, another one. Rotherham have had a decent pre-season in terms of results, but no one's expecting them to, bark up any trees this season in the league. So exactly. It just goes to show that that pre-season results are just redundant, really.
Exactly. What do you think, Pat?
I agree with that. Some good signings there. Bear in mind that we did lose 8 players and not getting a penny for any of them. I still think we need to bolster the squad slightly more. Pre-season friendlies, I agree. You shouldn't read too much into them. But Honeyman has stood out, I think, in all the games. I think he's a really good signing. He was the best player when we played whole last season. I'm excited with Fleming. Obviously, an unknown quantity to us, but I think Honeyman is the pick of the bunch.
Couldn't disagree. And Ted?
Well, I'm going to stun you all here. I agree with Pat here straight away, which must be a new season. It won't last long. But no, I mean, Honeyman, I've always liked as a player. And I said when I found out that we'd signed him, I said, that guy is a typical Millwall player. The fans will love him. And if he doesn't get player of the season, and you heard it here first, I'll be amazed this year because I think his style and the way that he plays will, adhere him to all us fans. And the thing is, about the players that we've signed, as far as I'm concerned, they've signed that bit extra quality in the player than we have done in previous pre-seasons, if that makes any sense. Cresswell looks a very, very exciting defender. I did quote that I thought he would be the Harry Kane of defence for us this year, if you know what I mean. Harry Kane was such a good player. I expect this boy to go on to big and better things, if I'm honest. I think he looks that good. Shackleton, I think, is one to look for. I'm said me bit about Honeyman, but I think Shackleton might not be far behind him because he's got a bit of quality, similar sort of player. I think he's another excellent signing. The one we've got to give a little bit of time to is Zayn Fleming, because there's not many foreign players that come over to this country, whether you're looking at Premier League or our division or below, that hit it off straight away because the game is so different. He's going to take time to settle. He's going to take time to get into English football, if that makes sense. But I do like the look of him. What I've seen of the clips I've seen of him, to me, he reminded me a little bit of the way Tim Cahill used to come into the box at the last minute to score goals. So I think Zane Fleming will take a little bit of time, but he could well be in games a match winner. I will hasten to add just one last thing. I do think we still need a mobile, pacey forward, someone of the ilk of, and you'll like this one, Pat, someone like young Steve Morrison. That's what we need. Someone who had a bit of pace, who can hold the ball up, can run in behind and score goals. If we could find that one other person to as an option up front, I'd be absolutely over the moon with the business we've done this year. And I think we're a stronger squad than last year, which hopefully will mean that we will finish in a better position than we did last year.
Yeah, I think this is Rowett's make or break season, to be honest. He's been given the money. He's bought well. If he can pull it off, fair play to him, because I'm not a big Rowett fan, but if he can pull it off, well done. But I think it is a make or break season.
Can't disagree, but you make a good point, Ted, about Cresswell. When I went to the Dartford game, literally, it was like standing on the terraces at the old ground. You literally could hear them talking to each other. Yeah. And Cresswell did not stop talking for the first 45 minutes that he was next to me. Literally, him and McNamara were talking the whole time, but he was dictating and driving. There was like three leaders because Cooper was on the pitch at the same time, and Honeyman was doing a lot of talking. But Cresswell, all you could hear was his voice, all over the park. And if he's going to be that type of leader, that's exactly what we need.
I honestly expect him to be. I thought Danny Bannard was fantastic for us last year. I liked the way he slotted in, and he was a good player for us, Nat. But I genuinely believe that this kid is an even better player. I think he's a better distributor of the ball. He looks a leader from the word go, looking at him, and he stands out when I've seen him in England under-19 matches and whatever. Which I know it's slightly different level when you go down with the age groups and whatever. But I don't see personally any problems with Cresswell. And what I like about that is that puts pressure on Hutch and Cooper and Murray Wallace. They're all going to be fighting for their places in the team, because this kid's, I think he is something else.
Yeah, I think in terms of Hutch and Cooper, Murray Wallace, I think I'd like to see a lot more of on the left wing back position this year. Him and Topaloy, who apparently has also had a very good pre-season.
Very good.
Cresswell, I've heard Leeds fans and how annoyed that they are that he's gone on loan when they conceded, I think, the most amount of goals in the Premier League last season. And they're saying that he's one of, if not their best centre-back at the club. So that just shows how good a player he is and how much potential he's got. Another comparison, you mentioned the Harry Kane of defence, but Leeds had Ben White a couple of years ago, who was colossal for them at the back, and again was a pivotal part in why they got promoted. So hopefully he could even turn out to be our version of Ben White in that sense.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, and the other thing I like about like Shackleton as well. Shackleton's got a point to prove to people, because he was he's been a bit part player for the last couple of seasons with Leeds, although he's been very good when he's played, from what I've seen. And I like that. And the guy looks hungry. I see him in the friendlies, he looks a hungry player, and that's excellent for Millwall to have someone like that who does look like he's got a bit of quality as well.
The best bit about that deal for me is the fact that we've also got a buy clause in the contract. One of the reasons that we took too long to get the deal, well, I say too long, that we took a few weeks to get the deal sorted, was because we fought tooth and nail with Leeds to get that clause into his loan agreement, and we got it. So the fact that we've got that is really could be a very good bit of business. And he's also a versatile player. He can play on the right wing back position as well. So that gives Danny McNamara a bit more competition.
Agreed. We will take a break there.
Oh, sorry. Sorry. I just wanted to mention someone. Shut up, Ted. Just quickly, someone we haven't mentioned, Bennet. I'm absolutely over the moon that he's back.
I'm delighted that he's back. He was a brilliant goal scorer for us last season. Not just that, but his hold up play as well up top. He didn't stop running. He was great, on the ball. got a few assists in there, and he knows how to find the net, which is something that we've struggled with over the last couple of seasons.
He did. Right.
Yeah.
We will now take a break there and hear about...
One last thing, Gary.
We'll hear about our lovely pattern, our matchday programme from Bethany Warren.
Hi, Bethany here. Want a matchday programme? You'll find them with sellers outside the ground by the gates at Zampa Road, Stockholm Road and Senegal Road. They cost £1 and the sellers ask if you can have the right money, as change will be difficult. If you want to get a message, photos of special events, memorials, or just ones for good luck to be included, email smprogram@protonmail.com. That is smprogramme@protonmail.com. It's a great read.
I'm Gary Staff, and with me I have the No One Likes Us Talking team of Patricia Maslin, Ted Robinson and James Kelly. Our first guest this evening is a man that played over 340 appearances, scoring 17 goals for right back. He has also played for Leyton Orient and Bromley. He is now the first team coach at Bromley, where he's had recent success, where Bromley won the FA Trophy, beating Wrexham 1-0. Welcome, friend of the show, Alan Dunne.
Good evening.
Good evening, Al.
Hi, Alan.
Alan, before I let you off for the panel, they've got loads of questions for you, so I'm just going to ask you a nice one. Have you had a good summer?
I have had a busy summer. I didn't get to go away. My eldest, my Lola, was 16, so she had GCSE. So, I had a busy summer. Just doing working at the club. I got a week away before pre-season started because of my Lola's exams. But yeah, working away, building, trying to strengthen, trying to bring players in, having to let players go. Everything football related. So yeah, busy summer.
They're so inconsiderate, them kids, Al, weren't they? Having exams and things like that, getting in the way of your holidays. It's terrible, isn't it?
I know. Times have changed. They grow up fast, don't they?
They do.
They do, mate.
Actually, Alan, there's a question you just said in there. Letting people go, how hard is that conversation?
Yeah, I know firsthand. I had it at 32 years of age at Millwall, so I know how difficult it is. Obviously, it's never a nice conversation, especially after we just won a cup. We won the FA Trophy at Wembley, and obviously a great team. And then a week later, you're telling them that they no longer wanted their services. It's difficult. It's the worst. It's the worst part of the game. The day they come in, and you have to tell them that we're no longer renewing their contract. It's not not a nice bit, but it is part of the business. It's part of the game.
Yeah.
Hello, Alan. It's Pat speaking. On a lighter note, Millwall have made some good signings this closed season. What have you made of them?
Yeah, I've seen them firsthand, a few of them. Obviously, we played Millwall in a behind-closed friendly about 3 weeks ago. So I think Zion played in that, Ryan Fleming. I think Charlie Cresswell and a couple of them played in it. Yeah, I think they strengthened well. I think they brought in, obviously, the two boys from Leeds. I think will do well for them. I think, and obviously the boy who's cost a huge amount of money for a club like Millwall. I think, yet to see it, but I think he'll bring attacking options, and I think there's more goals there from midfield, which is a big thing. Okay. You're going to need it with Jed Wallace gone, obviously.
Absolutely, yeah.
Indeed.
Hello, Al. Ted here, mate. Do you think the Lions will make a realistic push for promotion this year? I mean, I'm a bit like it. I think they've strengthened the squad this year to what it was last year from the players that they've signed. So I think we've got a good shout. What do you reckon, mate?
I think they got a gel together now, haven't they? I think they bring new players in, and Jed. We know Jed's going to be a big miss. But he has strengthened the right people. I think, the second year. I mean, the first year, this last year was exceptional. I think if you can carry on that momentum into this season with better players, there's no reason why not. But again, it will come down to goals and how many goals, and that will be a big factor in Millwall's season. I think defensively, Millwall have been solid, and I think it will come down to you need a man that tallies man is going to get you 15, 20 goals.
I think with a Dutchman, it's a matter of a little bit of a gamble, but hopefully he comes off, mate.
Yeah, I hope so, and I think he can hit the ground running straight away. And look, Gary Rowlett's done well, and he's built a team there, and they're a young team and energy, and I think they've got a way of playing now, which suits them. So it's an exciting season for them ahead. The Championship's a tough league, and there are some big clubs in there with far bigger funds than Mill. But Millwall have always got the 12th man with the crowd at the Den, which is a powerful tool to have in itself. And coming to the Den, I think their home form, if they can keep that as strong and keep that a fortress, pick up the away wins here and there, and that's how you secure in a playoff spot.
Evening, Alan. It's James here.
Hello.
Yeah.
Good evening. Sorry.
Yeah, that's all right. Staying on the subject of Gary Rowlett, obviously he's now 3 years into his tenure, and this summer he also signed a new contract. What have you made of the job he's done so far, and do you feel that he's the right man to take the club forward for the next few seasons?
Yeah, it's a good question. At first, I thought it was. Yeah, at first I didn't think he was the right man for the job. But I think since then he's proven what he can come in and do. I think Mill last year missed out by a whisker. Like I said, he's changed the way the team plays. He's changed the formation, and I think he's done extremely well there. And I think he's got 3 years now to try and get the club promoted, and I think he's got a chance of doing it. If he gets the backing and if he gets the right recruitment, which I think this year at the moment on paper it looks like a strong squad.
Yeah, I do agree with you. I mean, we missed out on the playoffs on the last day of last season, and obviously we've plugged the right gaps. I feel we've brought in some very good midfielders in Shackleton and Honeyman. Brought Bennet back, which was a big coup for us. Zane Fleming as well, which is going to be, hopefully, should be a good signing for us. And Charlie Cresswell on loan at the back. So let's hope they can all gel together pretty quickly and we can have a very good season.
Yeah. Alan, what's your thoughts on the friendlies? On social media, a lot of Millwall fans aren't happy with the performances. Do you actually consider those performances are carried over into the season, or are they just about gelling the team together?
Yeah, no, I've had the same conversation with my own staff, and you can win all your pre-season games, and then you could go a month without winning, and you could have the opposite. Pre-season games are about minutes, and most games are false pretensions. We've had games. I went and watched the Millwall Dartford game. I was there, watched in the crowd. I did watch it. They are only minutes, and for Rowlett to try certain things in games, have a look at players, and they're normally mixed teams. So you can never get a gauge of a pre-season game, whether it's good or not. It's difficult to get a gauge because you're playing different opposition. So you can never get a gauge from it. 12 games in the season, you'll have a gauge of where you're at as a club, as a team. Pre-season, for me, I've never liked pre-season games. I don't like the games we're playing at the moment, but they are about fitness and minutes and seeing the young boys coming through and giving them a chance and opportunity to play and showcase what they can do. So I think you just got to enjoy them, but there's nothing like the league games. I think we're all looking forward to the start of the game when you're playing for points and you're playing for your living, and that's a whole different scenario.
It makes you wonder whether they should play all friendlies behind closed doors, because if the fans aren't going to get a real taste of the team, and they're going to get criticism if the fans don't like what the manager's doing. Perhaps there's
possibly, but they're great revenue streams for the clubs that they're playing, and a club like us, we had Arsenal on Tuesday, we got Chelsea on Saturday, their second team, we had Tottenham, and we get 2,000 people there, and it sets us up for the season. And same at Dartford, it helps the clubs, lower clubs, but I guess yourselves as well. I think, and they can showcase the new talent, the new kit. It's one of them things that I think for 4 or 5 weeks, it's one of them things we're going to have to live with. But I wouldn't go with the behind closed doors. I think we all want to see the new boys on show as soon as possible.
Absolutely.
Yeah, whet your appetite for the season, mate. Well, let's take you back, Al, to last season. I wanted to say to you, I've got a couple of sort of questions. How did you feel? Because Bromley was up there for a part of the season, then they seemed to just sort of drift away. Then, of course, you had the wonderful success of the FA Trophy. So tell us about both your feelings there, Al. I'm sure you're slight disappointment, then obviously the exhilaration of actually winning the trophy.
It reminds me of a little bit when we was in the championship and we went to the FA Cup final and we were doing really well in the champ that year.
Yeah.
And then we just filtered off, didn't we? And I think it was a similar season to us. We were doing really well. And then, obviously, recruitment at Christmas plays a big part in it. We signed a couple of players. I mean, and then your Wrexhams went and signed your Ollie Palmer, and they're paying them $5-6 grand a week. We can't compete with that. And that's the money in the National League now. There's more money in the National League than a lot of clubs in League Two and League One. We can't compete with your Stockport and your Chesterfields and your Wrexhams. But look, we competed till January. We was a point off top of the league on the end of January, and obviously the cup game come into play where we got to the quarter-final, semi-final, and then got to the final. And we know what it's like at Millwall. It does have an effect on the team and the squad. There's a lot of press, a lot of distraction, and I think that played a part in us just. Again, a lot of games, it played a part in us just filtering off the league, which was a shame. But on the flip side of it, we made history and won a cup we've never won, and we beat a team like Wrexham with the funds and the money they've got, with 35,000 people in the stadium, and it was great for the town, the Bromley Football Club, that it put us on the map.
And how ironic that it was actually Wrexham, mate, and deservedly beat them on a day as well.
Yeah, we put a lot of work into it, and I thought tactically, I spent a lot of hours trying to work on them, and I thought tactically we executed the game plan on the day to perfection, and it was a great memory, and a different side to winning it to winning something at Wembley as a player, to win it as an assistant manager, in my first year as assistant manager, to win a trophy. It was a great feeling for me because you play more of a part than a player. As a player, you look after yourself and you do your job. As an assistant manager, you're part of a team.
A better feeling now?
It was a better feeling, yeah, a lot better feeling than because I played so much of a part in building a team and a year's work gone into it. And every day I work a lot more hours than I did as a player because you train for 2 hours. So in that sense, it was a different feeling. Don't get me wrong, playing is nothing better than playing. But as an assistant manager, winning something so early on in my career, it was special. It was special.
A better feeling is you didn't have to run round for 90 minutes and knacker yourself out. That's what it was, I think.
No, yeah, agreed. I kicked a few people. I couldn't kick anyone on the sideline, so.
Dear.
Yeah. Alan, there's a rumour going around that you turned down a position at Gillingham before Neil Harris got the job. Is that true? And if so, what happened there?
Well, obviously, Andy Woodman is my boss. He's the manager. I'm the assistant manager, and we were linked to a few clubs. Obviously, we made the playoffs in the back end of our first season, and then we had a lot of clubs around us talking. But Gillingham came in. We met the chairman. We sat down and spoke. The manager had various meetings with the chairman. It was agreed. They wanted to agree with our chairman, and we sat down and we was offered the job. They wanted us, and we sat down and had various meetings together. And we just felt, literally at the last thing, it just wasn't right for us. It just wasn't right. It wasn't our time, and we still had work to do at Bromley. I worked for a fantastic chairman called Robin, who was also a Millwall fan, called Robin, and it just wasn't right. So we parted. We decided to call it off, and I think it was the right decision. We ended up winning the cup at Wrexham and having a good season, and we both signed 3-year deals to commit our future to Bromley, which is a fantastic club. But when you get league interest, it is a difficult decision you've got to make. Gillingham wanted to take us. They know that Andy Woodman's been around, and his experience in the game and the contacts he's got and the young players we've brought through. I think that suited Gillingham, and it was a decision we made and together, and it just wasn't the right time for us to move on.
Next year when you're playing them, Al, you're really the right decision.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and then hopefully you can get there this year with Bromley instead.
That's our ultimate aim. We wanted to. Bromley's now is on the up. It's a great club. If you've been down there, there's huge investment gone down there. We've got a new stand. which the chairman's bought and it's really is like a baby mill down there. It's a great club. We get a great set of fans down there, and there's a great energy. And our ultimate aim is to get in the league, and the club is ready now and prepped in all the surroundings, ready for the league. And
Alan, is there certain criteria you have to tick then? Because I know I've been watching the Peter Crouch video, and it's interesting how they're saying clubs around them didn't want to get promoted because, one, they couldn't sell beer on the terraces, all stuff like that. Is there certain hoops you have to jump through?
That's the league below, like your Dulwich and stuff. Obviously, right. and your Maidstones, they're allowed alcohol outside on game days. In our league, they're not allowed that, so it doesn't affect us. But there is an infrastructure you have to have in place. Certain floodlights, which we've got EFL floodlights put in. Certain changing rooms, certain criteria with the stands and safety, and we have all of that in place. So if we get promoted, it will be an easy turnover for us to make. So we're ready for that. Again, we still got to get there, but the infrastructure of the club is set for EFL football. The chairman wants to get Bromley into, his ultimate aim is to get us into League One. And he's very well driven, and I think he'll get there at the right. We'll get there eventually, I believe.
Well, hopefully you're at the helm, or part of the helm, when you do it, Al. Before we let you go, though, mate, it's been great as always. Saturday, Stoke. Obviously, well, you might be there, you might not be. What do you reckon?
Stoke, is it away, is it?
No, it's at home.
It's at home. First game of the season at home, a full house at the Den. I think would be very difficult for Stoke to get any points. So I'm going to go with a 2-1 win Millwall.
I think we'd all be happy with that. Alan, absolutely superb. Thank you very much. And we'll get you on later on in the season where we can talk about how Millwall are progressing and how things are going for you guys at Bromley.
Look forward to it, guys. Brilliant. Great to hear from you as always. And good luck Saturday. Really hope you
Cheers, Alan.
Cheers, Al.
Thanks, Alan.
Mate. Cheers, Al.
Thank you.
Thanks, Alan. We'll take a break there and listen to Bethany Warren talking about the Millwall Community Trust.
The work of the Millwall Community Trust makes a big difference for people in Lewisham, Southwark and North Kent. Times are getting tougher, and to help them make a difference, you can help too, by making a donation. Give a one-off donation or a monthly amount. Your support is crucial in raising vital funds for their work, or by fundraising for them. If you are running, swimming, cycling, cooking, dancing, parachuting or anything else, why not do it for the Millwall Community Trust? Interested? Then either email inquiries@millwallcommunity.org.uk or phone 0207 740 0503. I'll say that again. Email inquiries@millwallcommunity.org.uk or phone 0207 740 0503. Thanks if you can.
I'm Gary Staff, and with me I have the No One Likes Us Talking team of Patricia Maslin, Ted Robinson and James Kelly.
Alice here. Thank you for watching my videos. Now to hear what the Millwall Lionesses and Romans have been up to, and to hear who is next up for Gary Rowett and the Lions. Come on, Millwall!
Thanks, Ellis. Listening to your clip always makes me smile. Millwall Romans and Millwall Pride are yet to return to action, but we do have a short clip from our Lionesses man, Jeff Burnige.
Millwall Lionesses have been back in pre-season since the beginning of July and have already had a couple of matches. Their league campaign in the London and South East Regional Women's League begins on Sunday the 21st of August with a trip to Saltdean on the south coast. The first home match is at St Paul's Sports Ground in Rotherhithe, which the Lionesses share with Fisher, is against Aylesford on the 28th of August. As far as I know, our matches will still be free admission for all. Interest in women's football is at its highest ever with the success of the England team. Millwall's role in the early days of women's football and its development is well known, having provided players, a manager and even a name to the England Lionesses. I hope Millwall fans will come and support in their droves. The atmosphere is great for these games, and the management team of Jack Wheeler and Alex Russell, both Millwall fans, have been busy this summer strengthening the squad. The division looks like being even stronger this season, but promotion to the FA Women's National League is the confirmed target.
Thanks, Jeff. The first team are back in action this weekend with a home game against Stoke, followed by the Carabao Cup against Cambridge United. But before discussing this with the panel, we've got a short clip from Kai Bennet, who put together some comments regarding the Ipswich friendly last weekend.
Just a quick summary of Millwall's game against Ipswich Town last weekend. Mill drew 1-1 against the Trapped Boys in their last pre-season friendly. It was a good start by Millwall. They started off strong. They started off the better side, and you could see that championship quality in them. But we did go ahead about 25 minutes through. Really good pressing from George Honeyman. And Bennet managed to latch on to a mistake by the holes of his head's back. He bounced it off his foot, came back to him, and he tucked it away in the near post. Really good finish, 1-0. After that, Ipswich started to gain a bit more momentum, and they did equalise eventually in the 60th minute. It's a bit of a fortunate goal. Brian Nenner goes for a tackle, wins it, but then it rebounds off his leg and falls straight to the Ipswich striker, who finishes quite comfortably past Bart. And that's how it stayed. That's how it stayed in that game, and finished 1-1. And we move on now to Stoke City on Saturday.
Thanks, Kai. So, Pat, Stoke Saturday.
Stoke Saturday. Yeah, good start to a season, really. Not a very good team, actually, I don't think. Made 7 new signings during the closed season. A couple of standout ones. I know some of our supporters were disappointed. They thought we might get Dwight Gale. I'm not disappointed. The guy's 32. He got 6 goals in 35 games. I mean, why do we want a player like that? But you never know. He might turn it around. Also got Will Smallbone from Southampton. Don't know too much about him, but he looks okay. I think the biggest influence on Saturday will be their young guy, Wright Phillips. They've had a bad pre-season friendlies. All there is moaning on social media about it. As I say, we can't go by that. But they don't impress me. I think it's going to be a comfortable win.
Can't disagree. I think we'll be, as Alan said, the home support and the first game of the season just stands us in good stead. James.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what Pat said there. I've also done a bit of reading from some Stoke fans, and they too aren't particularly confident that they're ready for the start of the season. They haven't had a great pre-season either, but again, results can't really have an influence on that. But it's more the performances. Yeah, like with Pat, Dwight Gale wasn't one that I'd lose sleep over if we couldn't get. I mean, he's done a very good job with West Brom, but he hasn't, done a whole lot other than that. So, and also Gary Rowett seems to know how to get a result against Stoke. We beat them last season 2-1 at home. I think the season before, away, we beat them 2-1. And in his first match for us, we won 2-0, which coincidentally cost Nathan Jones his job when he was there. So I'm quietly confident about Saturday. I'm going to say a 2-0 win, a Phobe to get one of the goals, and say Mason Bennett to get the other.
Ooh, I'll be happy with that. Mr. Robinson?
Aiming goal scorers as well. What is the lot we'll come to, James? Listen, Stoke in general in the past have always been a tough side, and I don't expect them to be any different this season. I was disappointed last season. I will definitely give you that. I thought they'd have been a better side than that, and they've had a bit of a clear out and a turnaround. And they have brought one person in that we haven't mentioned, Aidan Flint, always a bit of a from Cardiff, big lad, but he's someone you can
That's
get.
a good score in the back, yeah, it's a great signing.
Yeah, he's. I mean, and beware Dwight Gale. Dwight Gale's been sitting on the sidelines at Newcastle. He has in the past had a good record as a goal scorer. He might be just one of them players that needs to fit in somewhere. If he fits in at Stoke, he could well be their 20-goal a season man. I'm not saying he's going to be, but he could well be. He's got sort of that in his past. But listen, at the end of the day, you don't look at friendlies, forget about what Stoke done in friendlies, or forgetting about what Millwall have done in their friendlies. It's all about that first opening game. And even to a certain extent, I can remember Norwich losing, I think it was 7-0 on the opening game of the season and finished up getting promoted. So it's all, obviously, to state the obvious, it's early doors now. But as for the game itself, yeah, I'm liking the look of Millwall. I'm liking the way that hopefully it's going to come together. Stoke at home on the opening day will be a big crowd. We know that. Stoke will bring a lot because their fans follow them wherever they go. But it's just whether we can get that front part of our attacking play together. There were signs with some lovely passing that I'll see against Ipswich, especially, that makes me think that, yeah, we could be a side. Let's hope they get it all together on Saturday. I think it might be a little bit tighter than what James said. I think 2-1 for me.
Fair enough. And then on Tuesday, as mentioned, we move on to Cambridge United. I posted. Oh, there we go. Pat, what are your thoughts on Cambridge? I know we beat. What did we beat 3-0 last season? Was it at home? It's over at their place this time, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't really know too much about Cambridge. They're 7th, 8th tier, are they?
In the FA Cup.
Yeah. We should win. It all depends who Rowett's going to put out, really. Is he going to play some of the youngsters? Are we not going to have a full squad? It seems to be the way Rowett goes. And I mean, it'd be nice to see the youngsters sort of playing as a team, because I think he's got 2 really good squads there, 2 whole squads. Obviously, we've got to say we're going to win it. It'd be embarrassing if we don't. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I think that's going to be a comfortable 3.
Okay, and then we've got Ted. Go on then, mate.
Well, I remember last season, and wasn't it this one that where Murray Wallace nearly got hat-trick? Am I remembering that right?
Yes, it was.
I think he scored 2, didn't he? Yeah. Listen, again, it's an early game. I'm a little bit with Pat. I mean, a lot of people don't like a big change around, and it depends how it sees it, because if I remember rightly, we got Sheffield United away the following Saturday, so maybe you might make a few changes in there, give everybody a bit of a run out, which, but listen, we should have the quality to beat Cambridge, but we all know in them sort of games that strange results happen. But I personally, at this moment in time, cannot see us losing to Cambridge, so hopefully it'll be a comfortable win. And how nice would it be to have a good run in the Carabao Cup? The Carabao, whatever cup it is, anyway.
Just say EFL.
Got there in the end.
Yeah.
EFL Cup.
That's the one.
EFL Cup. It's probably the easiest way to put it, Pat. I wish I'd thought of that before I opened my mouth, but there you go.
Oh dear. James?
My knowledge on Cambridge United isn't the best, but I can see the likes of George Long, Isaac Olafay, maybe even Tyler Bury starting that game. I do think Rowett's going to give a few players some rest, because I worked out like we could have at least 9 games to play before the end of August, which shows you how condensed the season is. Yeah, which shows you how condensed the season is going to be. So, squad rotation is going to be key this season. And yeah, it is. I don't want to say it is only because they did have a huge cup, probably one of the biggest cup upsets in the FA Cup last year, where they went to Newcastle and won 1-0. But I do think that we should have more than enough in the tank to get a very decent win. So I'm going to say, are we doing predictions for this one? Or?
Yeah. Check them out.
Oh, go on. I'll say 3-1 to the Lions.
Cool. My comment, Stoke, I think actually be a bit more comfortable than most of us think. I think we're going to hit the ground running. I think we might win that one 3-0.
Ooh, hello.
I'm going to go comfortable.
Lovely.
Yeah, but I think it might be a few surprise goals. I think old Cooper might pop up, and I think Cresswell might get one. And do you know what? I know everyone's saying...
Fleming.
Yeah, exactly what I was about to say. I just think it's going to be one of those. He might not hit the ground running, but I think he'll get a goal on the board early. And, yeah, that'd be my prediction for that.
The only thing I'd say there, Gary, is that I would love to see Bennet score, because I think the guy thrives off of goals, and I'd like to see him up and running and scoring as soon as possible, if I'm honest.
Especially against his old club.
Yeah. And guys, I actually think Fleming will probably play against Cambridge United as well to get as many minutes under his belt. But I also think Topola will play on that game as well. I
forgot to mention him.
Don't get me wrong, I would love to see Fleming score, because he needs the goal,
Yeah.
Yeah. Can they just all score? Can we just say 11-0?
Jake Cooper.
Yeah.
Or 10. Leave the goalkeeper.
Yeah, Gary, you mentioned Jake Cooper would score against. Gary, you mentioned Jake Cooper scoring against Stoke, but remember he's playing Sheffield United the following week. So if he doesn't score against them against Stoke, then he's guaranteed to score against Sheffield United, isn't he?
Yeah, of course. I was actually watching the game the other night, the girls' game, thinking, we'll be there in a couple of days' time. Anyway, thanks, guys. But before we go, we've got a special guest that's just popped in. George has been at the
I wouldn't say that.
No, just cut him off.
Has been at the fans forum this evening. So I just want to bring George in for a couple of minutes to tell us what's been going on at the fans forum before we move on to our next guest. Hi, George.
Hello, Gary. Yes, fine, thank you. We've just left. What's the time? 8:30. Yeah.
Okay, so what was said then, George? Give us a couple of minutes.
It follows the same format as always, doesn't it? Rowett was there for the first hour, and then Kavanagh was there for the second with Billy Taylor. The MSC were there, but they stayed up the back. They cover a broad spectrum, to say the least. I think Gary knows what his team's going to be for Saturday. He looks to be wanting to get a new striker in if he can. They do have the money available for that.
That's good.
The Danny Mac situation seems to be very fluent, to be honest. I find that to be an hard one. That could well go the way of Wallace. Yeah. If they're not, they're offering him a deal, but whether he signs it or not is another matter. I think.
It's interesting. A few people have said that tonight.
That certainly looks. Kavanagh wasn't very happy about Lovelace going, but going to Scotland was certainly a problem. Gary's going to play 5-2-1-2, so he can have two forwards up front. Kavanagh also told us that John had to put 13 million into our club this season, but we lost 12 million. So it's it keeps us going. But
anything about the regen, George?
There was a little bit about it. Yes, he wants to get we've got a 123-year lease at the present time. But he won't do anything with the regen in way of drawing up plans, because they cost millions of pounds, until we get a 250-year lease. Now, we had that all the time, but when the pandemic kicked in, it all went pear-shaped. So he's back in the ballpark asking the mayor to do that again, which may well happen. So, but it's understandable that he wants that 250-year lease before for us to draw up plans for what we want stadium-wise and any outlets for us would cost us £1 million, and he ain't going to do that until he's got the lease in place. So,
what about the new training ground, George? Now you've sold him the land.
The training ground, they've got the plans in. And it's hopefully all going through. He was quite positive about that. And he thinks, we just got to wait and see. But everything seems to be on track with that one. And it is in 4 years' time, we have to leave Claremont Road and also the Blackheath one. So it all needs to be done. It needs to get through and then be built and all that within 4 years from now.
Brilliant. All right then, George, we'll let you travel home. Have a safe journey. And actually, George, quick prediction for Saturday. Go on before we go.
I think we're going to win about 3-0, actually.
Victory!
I'm not the only one then. Cheers, George.
And also, Stoke, Stoke
You've been
can't
drinking
buy
again, George.
Sorry?
Stoke can't buy anybody at the moment. Yeah.
Well, they've already bought 7 players. I bought 7 in.
They've got some sort of restriction on them. That's for sure.
Fair enough. All right, then, George. Have a safe journey home, and I'll catch you next week.
All right. See you later, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Hello.
Cheers, George.
See you later, George.
That is such a George, such a George answer. Stoke can't buy anyone. They've just bought 7 players.
Oh dear. Right, we'll take a break there and listen to Bethany Warren talking about the History and Heritage Tour.
The next guided Millwall History and Heritage Tour around the famous Millwall sites on the Isle of Dogs takes place on Saturday, September the 24th, starting at 11 a.m, and tickets are currently on sale at eventbrite.co.uk. That is eventbrite.co.uk. Just search Eventbrite for the Millwall History and Heritage on the site to book your tickets.
I'm Gary Staff, and with me I have the No One Likes Us Talking team of Patricia Maslin, Ted Robinson and James Kelly. Our final guest tonight is no stranger to the show. Sam is 30 years old and has been following the Lions for all of them years. He's of Asian descent and his granddad is the infamous man who played Let 'Em Come at the Ritz. Welcome to the show, Sam Gardiner.
Hello, Sam.
Hello, Sam.
Evening, Sam.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, are you there, Sam? Did you hear the intro?
Yeah, I just said hello to Ted and to Pat.
we didn't hear you, Sam. That's all right. That's okay. So, the fan section this year is going to be slightly different. This year we're going to ask our fans to remember and discuss a match that they went to and bring back memory to that great day. So, over to you, Sam. I won't spoil your thunder, so if you want to let us know what match it is, and I'll let you go on.
Well, do you know what it is? This actually took a little while because we've had some great days over the years, but they are few and far between. But I've got to say, in my lifetime, I've been very lucky. I spoke to the guys and to Pat on the show, and my dad was a big Millwall fan, but prior to him, us younger crowd, in the last 24, 5 years, we've seen us at Wembley, which we'd never done before 99. And I had a long think, and I just thought, you know what? Leeds away a few years back was, it was something special for the fact that we'd come up that season. We'd played really, really well away. First game of the season, Forest away, 20 odd shots. I think a stat was something like the first 3 away games we'd had about 60 shots and, not won any of their games, which ain't like us. We don't create chances. And, went to Leeds. I've been every away game with my little group and Leeds were flying and we thought, Jesus, I'm ever the optimist trying to be, and 2-0 up at half time. We'd had a good beer on the way, but I won't talk about that just yet because I know there's some other questions. And we had some expectation because you always do, but Leeds were flying at the time. And, so it was, that's my game. I know you've got some other questions. How far should I go? Should I talk about?
No, talk about the whole game. Talk about the second half and what happened.
Well, we went 2-0 up, and even Mr. Optimist here didn't expect that. And I remember coming down at half time, having gone to every away game from August the 12th to then, and we hadn't won away, and we played really well and not got points away. And I come down, I'm looking at all my friends saying, 2-0, Leeds 10 men. Surely, even us, we can't mess this up. Lo and behold, should have known better. 10 minutes in to the second half, 3-2 down. And one thing that I give us credit for that no one really speaks about that day, naturally everyone speaks about the last minute couple of goals, but the momentum that we actually stopped after those 3 goals in 10, 15 minutes against 10 men, they could have easily gone on to score 4-5, the momentum. We all slag off Leeds and we got a bit of a rivalry, but they are an old school club with big atmosphere. Can't knock them for that. So we could have easily gone from 2-0, 3-2 down, 4-5, but we didn't. We actually held on, and no one talks about that. Everyone talks about the late goals, naturally, but the funny one was, the equaliser, and I think everyone around us see Tom Elliott and shouted pass or don't shoot. But the fella, I think, you know what, the chest down and the finish, and I've had a few drinks tonight, but pretty sure he's from Leeds. So I think it meant quite a lot to him. And that moment when that fourth goal went in after travelling hundreds, if not a few thousand miles in the first 7 months of the year, and not seeing us win away when we actually deserved to as well, and get a bit of luck late on against them, that was, I'll never forget it. I've seen fans go mad before, playoffs, games against Palace, Charlton, West Ham, Mother's Day Massacre, this, that and the other, but that was those 3,000 or so. And I might be mistaken, but we didn't get a lot of fans at Leeds for donkey's years after the 4-1 that we lost years ago. They always made it hard, the tokens, the having to collect it off, old Bill on the service station. And I think that was one of the first games where we had I'll never ever forget that day with the fact of the result, who it was against, and the fact that I was with, my good pals that we travel everywhere together and have seen seen the rubbish. We've done the Rochdales, done the Chesterfields, all that. So that day will always stick. Will always stick with me.
Go on then, Pat. You asked the first question to Sam about that day.
Right, I was going to ask about the atmosphere, but you usually basically said it all. I mean,
sorry.
No, that's okay. I mean, going to the players though on that day, the likes of Morrison, who's held a grudge against Leeds forever. I mean, and then running towards the crowd, you must have really felt at one with the team at that point.
Do you know what? That was a team that it took a long time. There was a little turn where everyone just fell in love with that squad, and Morrison got a lot of stick that day.
Yeah,
I know you're a big fan. But it was brilliant when he just looked at those fans in front of us and he weren't giving it. He just put his arms out and looked, and it was brilliant. You know what? And the thing is, we actually genuinely deserved it after the 6 months before that we hadn't won away from August. And I'd say if we didn't, but that day was brilliant. And the fact that the old Bill held us in there for longer than they should, and it just made it all better because it was a bittersweet that every time they treated us like, what we get treated at away days sometimes. Absolutely. It made it bittersweet. So, don't get a lot of good away days as Millwall fans. So, yeah, that was brilliant.
But when they come high.
They do come high, yeah.
What about you, Ted?
Well, my question, Sam, was going to be, did you get a sense during the game that we were going to win it? I mean, which is a ridiculous question to ask a Millwall fan because we never believe we're going to win it at any time in the game. So
right.
I'll move on from that, Sam. Just say,
there's about five answers to that, Ted. Pre-game, no. Half-time, yeah, but a little bit nervous. 15 minutes after half time, want to find the nearest bridge, and then when you get kept in the ground and they're running past or singing through that little gap, I'll never forget it. I'll never forget. It's a lifetime tradition.
Well, as you say, it was a roller coaster of a game. But
it was.
I love going to Leeds away, like you say, the old style atmosphere. And I'm pleased you picked that game, but my game would have been Leeds in the playoffs, where it wasn't
Jimmy
such
Abdou.
a dramatic game. Yeah, it wasn't such a dramatic game, but the feeling of knocking them out of the playoffs will stay with me forever and a day. It was wonderful.
Exactly, and you know what? Jimmy Abdou's like an unsung Millwall hero, and the fact that if not one person, the biggest diehard Jimmy Abdou fan, wouldn't have bet on him to score the winning goal. So it's moments like that in sport when it surprises you, and the way he celebrated. He is proper Millwall. He had a good 7 to 9 year stint, nearly had a, what's the word? Sorry, I've had a few beers, guys. Testimonial. There you go. And he deserved it. And I was glad that he never really got one because you know what, Ted? I actually thought of that game because I was there and it was phenomenal. And I've had some great ones at Leeds and
bring Leeds back to our division. That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
A few more days like that.
Yeah. Cresswell and Shackleton can wave them goodbye as they go down and we go up.
Do you know what? Do you know what was gutting? When they were struggling last year, I thought how good it would be if they had a great season after 20 odd years and none of their fans got to see it because of COVID. Then they went down.
Yeah.
That would have been brilliant.
Sam, before you go quickly then, sorry, James, didn't get to ask your question, but what was your what's your prediction for Saturday, Sam?
I think our player of the season is going to be Bennet. Love him. He gets a lot of stick. Don't know why. This is his season. He's going to start 3-1 anytime. Bennet. Bosh.
Brilliant. Thanks, Sam. Sorry, James. We take a break there.
Have a good one, guys.
Cheers, Sam.
Bye, Sam.
Sorry about my
Sam.
signal.
Thanks. Take care.
Take care. Bye.
Thanks, Sam. We'll take a break there and listen to the Lions Food Hub.
Hi everyone, hope you're all keeping well. On Saturday we are going to be opening the new match day donations hut. It's going to be situated around at the SE16 bar. So if you want to pop down and see us there, the opening is going to be at 1:45 on Saturday. Hope to see as many of you as there as possible. We're only moving forward and it's only through all of your support. So I want to thank you all, thank everyone at No One Likes Us. Thank Millwall FC for putting us into there and the Community Trust for all the work that they do with us. Hope to see you all Saturday. Take care.
I'm Gary Staff and with me I have the No One Likes Us talking team of Pat Maslin, Ted Robinson and James Kelly. As I say, Kelly, keep up the great work and we'll see you round by the Blue Bus on Saturday. We're all looking forward to the new season and here are a few matters of interest from the Millwall fans.
First off, why not support a player by sponsoring their shirt? Enjoy a great executive lounge VIP package with family and or friends, or just get behind the club in several different ways, and that includes business propositions from advertising to sponsorship. Just contact the lovely Andrew Stead or a member of his team in the commercial department to find out more. And that's good night from me.
And Gary returns again next week on Friday at 8 p.m. to host George, Jeff and me again. There will be a preview of our first game of the season and a couple of guests. Don't miss it. And don't forget to buy a programme Saturday. Good night.
What a show that's going to be next week. Anyway, congratulations to young Albie, who has been selected for a trial with Millwall after impressing the Millwall Community Trust coaches with his displays at the Player Performance Pathway. That's 9 players in 6 months who have progressed through the MCT pathway to trials and signings for our club. The coaching team concentrate on finding and nurturing the best talent in South East London with the ultimate aim of getting them into the Millwall Football Club Academy aged 6 to 14 years. Want a trial? Yes, please, I do. Or you know someone who might? Contact Millwall Community Trust Football Development Manager by email. I knew you'd do this to me. Oh dear, here we go. I'll spell it out. It's TSELLS at millwallcommunity.org.uk. Oh, that's good. It didn't have any of them silly little things in it. I will say that again. It's TSELLS at millwallcommunity.org.uk. And it's a very good night from me.
Don't forget, you'll be able to listen to the No One Likes Us talking team, bring reports from our games both home and away, with updates on Millwall community matters, also on Maritime Radio broadcasting on 96.5 FM. Links are on our Instagram, Facebook and Twitter social media sites and all popular podcast sites also. That's it from me. Thanks, Pat, Ted, Stan, and until next time, it's bye from me also. Take care.